Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Black. I'm the Assistant Superintendent at Shaler Area, and I'm joined this evening with two of my colleagues, Dr. Shannon Howard, who is the Middle School Assistant Principal and one of the lead administrators for the Shaler Area Virtual Institute, and Eloise Milligan, who is the Coordinator of Academic Services for the school district. This evening, our team is going to share with you information regarding the Shaler Area Virtual Institute, which is a learning option that will be available beginning in the 2021-22 school year. Following the presentation this evening, we will open the room for questions and answers. We would ask if your question is specific to your child or specific to a special education concern that you email the administration following the presentation. We don't want to get into specific information as this presentation will be recorded and posted on the district website. So with that said, I am going to turn it over to Mrs. Milligan.
Thank you, Dr. O'Black. And I want to thank everybody in attendance this evening for joining us. We're going to walk you through what we have thus far for our Shaler Area Virtual Institute, also known as SAVI, which will begin for the 21-22 school year. So primarily coming out of the pandemic, what we've realized is that many school districts, just like ourselves, need to provide another option for students and for families that is a virtual option. We love our Shaler Area families, we love our students, and we don't want to lose you to a cyber school option. So we are planning our own virtual institute to begin starting next school year. And the option is going to be very flexible for students. We realize that we want flexibility for families depending upon your situation as to why you would choose to enroll your student into a virtual setting. So what we are looking at is to have a synchronous and an asynchronous model that covers the social and emotional needs of our students and also addresses specific instructional goals for each student who is enrolled in our program. So our hope is that our teachers will be instructing the curriculum using our teachers in the model. And we want to ensure that the students are getting everything that they would typically get if they were a Shaler Area student in person. So although we are starting the school year next year, planning for a 5-day in-person instruction, we do want to have this option available to families that would choose to do a virtual cyber school option. And at this point, I also want you to know that we are going to be focusing on what scheduling might look like, what type of student should enroll into a SAVI school if it's an option for you, and our next steps. And at the end, as Dr. O'Black indicated, we will answer questions as best as we can to our ability. And also SAVI, for everybody, it does align to our Shaler Area School District mission and vision statement. And it also aligns to the future readiness goals, which we have set forth in front of us from the Department of Education that we've been focusing on for the past couple of years. And at this point, I'm going to turn the program back over to Dr. O'Black, who's going to touch on that piece.
Thank you, Mrs. Milligan. One of the advantages to remaining virtual with Shaler Area School District is the alignment to many of the foundational skills that we have integrated within our schools. And we refer to those as our essential conditions for learning. And we truly are focused on these 6 tenets, which are meaningful, personalized, supportive, independent, visible, and relational learning. And I think one of the things that you'll find as we move through the presentation is the emphasis that we're placing on relational. And we really want our students who opt for a full virtual environment to maintain that connection with the school district, with their school administrators, with teachers, with school counselors, social workers, and any other support services that they need. And we want it to be personalized. We understand that there is not a one-size-fits-all model to online virtual instruction. So we are prepared to work with our families to meet those ever-changing needs of their students, specifically our students at the secondary level as they begin to make that pathway towards college and career. We recognize that there are course options that may require a more blended option. So we are dedicated and we are committed. We have learned a lot over the past year and a half relative to online instruction. We have heard from our parents many of the things that they may be looking for as we continue to move forward. So we've tried to blend all of that together in a systematic approach that we'll be sharing with you. I think it's important to note and Dr. Howard and Mrs. Milligan will also reinforce this. At this point, we are not asking through the survey for full commitments. We are asking for parents to just indicate to us for planning purposes if an online program is something that they're looking forward to for their students in the upcoming school year. That is Dr. Howard will share later, really does dictate some of the modeling that we use. So again, just focusing on the 6 tenets that we use in our school district and modeling that in our online program. Also, our SAVI program will have alignment with our Portrait of a Graduate. And this really is our frame of a shared vision for students as they will graduate from Shaler Area School District. Particularly, we have had children that have become very resourceful over the course of the pandemic and are prepared more than ever to engage in a successful online program. We'll be focusing on adaptability. There are things that we do in a brick and mortar school that have to look different in an online environment and are adapted and are situated differently. Additionally, our students, again, now more than ever, have faced a lot of challenges and they've overcome them and they've become resilient and they've showed how committed they are to their instruction and how they can put their best foot forward even in a virtual environment. So we're excited that SAVI will have that alignment with our Portrait of a Graduate.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Howard, and as Dr. O'Black and Ms. Milligan have mentioned, we really recognize that there is a need for SAVI. We know, as our mission statement states, that this is a collaborative, innovative, and creative learning environment opportunity for our students as we are approaching the next school year and beyond. We know that many of our students have been very successful in this learning environment, that it has provided consistency, it's allowed engagement, and we're looking for ways to allow our community with our teachers and our curriculum to continue. What we also want to recognize is what it's not. So SAVI would not be a place for just quarantine students. It's not a place for students with disciplinary issues to be attending school. And we realize that we also need to provide consistency. So we do not want students to be going back and forth between an in-person and online virtual model. So we're asking for either a semester or full year commitment. We also know that it's not going to be a canned commitment or canned curriculum, and that it's not just going to be a cohort C as you have seen it in the past. Our goal is to be making this more of a program that's aligned to our curriculum with our teachers. So who is our potential SAVI student? We want to make sure that the students who are joining our SAVI Institute, and SAVI again is the Shaler Area Virtual Institute, is someone who displays resiliency and perseverance. Because it is an online curriculum, we want somebody who is independent and can demonstrate creativity, somebody who is intuitive and self-aware, and that somebody who is going to have a parent or guardian or another adult who will provide ongoing support and guidance for them as we are continuing through not just next year. Again, we are looking for this to be an ongoing program. And as I mentioned before, we do want to know that this is going to be a commitment, not just for a semester, but potentially also for a year. We want to provide that continuity of service over the course of a student's curriculum. So I'm going to talk a little bit about scheduling, and one thing that Ms. Milligan and I will be talking more about is everything we're going to be talking about from this point forward really is going to be dependent on enrollment. So understanding that our ideal is in scheduling for K-8, that students would have core content classes, that it would be ELA, math, science, and social studies, regardless of how we deliver that, that they would have special area and elective classes, art, music, physical education, just the same as you would be in person. But more importantly, we're also going to include social and emotional check-ins. We want to make sure that students have that opportunity to be checking in with either a person or to be doing some emotional check-ins with themselves, to be sure that they're getting everything they need as they're continuing with online instruction. And it's going to be developmentally appropriate. And the differences between a K-3 environment, 4 to 6, and 7 to 8 will vary based on that developmental progress for whether it's going to be asynchronous completely or synchronous combination, and that would be developmentally appropriate. And then as we move into 9 through 12, our goal for just this current year, moving into the 21-22 school year, is that students would continue through the AIU Waterfront program, and that during this next school year, we're going to be planning to integrate that more into the SAVI program. But right now, learning would occur through the AIU Waterfront or in a blended environment for some singleton courses. So we are looking to, again, continue to integrate that as we move forward. Okay, Ms. Milligan.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. And I want to be completely transparent with everyone for the next section. As Dr. Howard indicated, what we are planning is our ideal model for an online institute for SAVI. But what we can tell you is enrollment does dictate the staffing. So the staffing model is being built around the students being served at the different grade levels. And we realize that this is a work in progress. From the initial review of survey data, which has only been out a week, enrollment is low. However, I want everybody to know that regardless of low enrollment, the K-6 model will be taught by a Shaler area teacher. Because if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's taught us that our students, the youngest learners, really need to have that connection to their school and to their student or to their teacher. So what we are planning is that they will be connected to their home building. They will have a counselor that would be the counselor of that building, and their principal would be the principal of the building that would be their home school. When you move to the 4 to 6 elementary level, they too will be connected to the elementary school, have an elementary counselor, and have an elementary principal overseeing them. But they're also going to have a synchronous and an asynchronous program, because what we've found is that although synchronous instruction is great and students love to see their teachers, they love to learn live, they also need that asynchronous piece to provide that flexibility that some families and students need so that they can do their own pacing and their own instruction. When it comes to special area classes, an example I can give you is art, for example, might be done asynchronously as opposed to live all the time, because art is something that we consider, as with all special areas, it's in addition to that core content instruction, it supports the core content instruction. So we want our students to be able to spend time asynchronously, really focusing on those particular areas such as art. And that may occur via a choice board where they have check-ins with their teacher, maybe on a Monday, work on the assignment all week and have another check-in on Friday with their teacher, just to provide that breakup, because kids cannot sit in front of a computer all day, all night doing their coursework. We need to provide that social and emotional piece also where they get those breaks in their instruction. And that would occur for K-6. When we move into the 7 to 12 range, ideally, we want our instruction to occur using our curriculum and also using our Shaler area teachers. But again, if enrollment numbers are low, our option would be through the Titan Cyber Academy, which is offered through Waterfront Learning and the Allegheny Intermediate Unit program. The nice thing is that the Allegheny Intermediate Unit is revising their Waterfront Learning program for next school year. So Titan Cyber will be a combination of synchronous and asynchronous instruction. Typically, it's asynchronous when you go to the secondary level. So they are listening to parents' communication from this school year and during the pandemic, and they're changing how they're doing things. So that would only be for next school year. Our hope is that we want SAVI to keep progressing, to keep moving forward. We know this is going to be an option parents and families, students are going to want for the future. So although next school year might be a little bit of a blip for how we plan some of it, the years to come, we're really truly looking at having our own instruction occurring from our Shaler area teachers, having teachers who are dedicated virtual teachers. But again, that is dependent upon enrollment numbers. So the higher the enrollment numbers we have, the better we have the ability to be able to pull a teacher and say, you're going to be a virtual teacher, and take them out of a full classroom setting. The other pieces, as Shannon indicated, or Dr. Howard, is that high school will always be for next school year through the Waterfront Learning and Titan Cyber Academy because of the unique scheduling features that occur with the high school. Our high school started scheduling months ago, so we can't really just say halt that process. We want to plan for SAVI. So what we want to do is next school year, as a district team, we're going to sit down with the high school administration and truly plan out the best model for a 9 to 12 setting that could have a blended approach to it, where students take some classes in person, some classes virtually. As Dr. Howard indicated with the singleton courses, that also is a very complex issue that we need to address and figure out the best processes, how to work through that when it comes to courses such as if your child's interested in welding as an elective, or if they're interested in an AP course, the college and high school courses, those all impact what that would look like for a SAVI model. So moving forward, do know that even if you're a Beatty student, if you're a college and high school student, this is an option for you. You can take these courses both in person and virtually, and that's something that we feel strongly about, that we want to maintain the status of students being Shaler area students, because we want our Shaler area students to participate in all activities, all sports, all events, go to graduation, go to the prom, whatever may be occurring. That's very important to us. We know it's important to our students. We know it's important to our families. So eventually our goal is, as I stated, to have Shaler area teachers instructing the students using our curriculum, having designated virtual teachers for this process. And that moves into our next steps. So our next steps are really to figure out, is this a semester commitment for a family or is this a full year commitment? Because the commitment needs to be for the semester or the full year, as Dr. Howard indicated. For K-6, we're definitely pulling a Shaler area teacher who is going to instruct virtually. They may have some students in front of them also with that hybrid model, but that is something that we are going to tell you, that K-6, we feel strongly to have a Shaler area teacher instructing our students, following our curriculum. Our students are participating in all activities as they want to participate in the activities. And additionally, we are following our Shaler area mission, where we are collaborative, innovative, creative, and we have an innovative learning environment. For the contacts, I am the contact for the K-6 program. Dr. Howard is the contact for the 7 to 12 program. So any questions that you have specific to your child, to your family, please email, call one of us. We will get back to you with the information that we have. We ask that you also complete the survey by May 1st so that we have a better idea of enrollment numbers for next school year. We're going to have more details as the school year progresses. Our hope is that by the end of June, beginning of June, we know exactly what these enrollment numbers are going to look like and how we're going to progress with the staffing and figuring out enrollment. So at this time, Dr. O'Black, we turn the program back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Howard and Mrs. Milligan. At this point, we will open the room to any questions. If you are able to use the raise hand feature, please do and state your name. Again, we just remind parents for information specific to your individual child, we would prefer that you contact Mrs. Milligan and Dr. Howard just to protect the confidentiality of your child. But if there are general questions, you can either use the raise hand feature or unmute yourself and state your name. Christopher Squire.
Hi. Yeah, again, my name's Chris Squire. I have a child at the high school, and I wanted to know if you knew anything, or are there any plans to continue with the academy at the high school, the with Mr. Di Pasquale, the special learning environment there that he's had for the last few years. Is that still going to be an option? Do you know?
That is separate from SAVI and Titan Cyber Academy. That program is for identified students, and it will remain in place for next school year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, again, if you do have questions after the presentation, please don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Howard or Mrs. Milligan via phone or email. We certainly are here to answer any questions. Just to reiterate, we would ask if you believe that SAVI is an option for your student, that you please complete the interest survey that has been shared via the weekly communications from the school district. We're asking that interest be notified by the survey by May 1st. And again, this webinar is being recorded and will be available on the district website and included in our weekly communication on Friday as well. We thank you for attending this evening. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.